Tell me a little bit about how you got involved in this film. Were you a fan of Tim Buckley and Jeff Buckley?
I was a giant fan of Jeff's. Well, I was I respected him as a person who loves music. I mean, anyone who loves music, anyone who's musical, and musicians always appreciate and hold a special place in their heart for Jeff. Tim, I didn't know much anything about, and when I read the script, I remember being really kind of perplexed by the fact that they were choosing to tell this story. You know, I mean, it's not at all a conventional biopic. It's not even a conventional narrative, really. I mean, you know.
Well, when you say this story, do you mean that they're telling sort of the part of Jeff Buckley's story when he wasn't famous?
Well, that, but also, you know, through a lens that is almost you know, it's telling it not from the point of view of Tim, obviously, but it's telling it with. I mean, the title says a lot. Greetings from Tim Buckley. It's in a way, in this mystical sort of ambiguous sense, his father, whom he never knew, whom he had a lot of ambivalence towards. You know, he's like welcoming him into the world of music, and to some degree love, and just opening him up. Whereas you see in the flashbacks, Tim being continually sort of closed into a box. So it's definitely like I mean, like I said, mystical. It has a mystical element to it. These two men who never knew each other, who were eerily similar icons.
And they both died. I mean, they both died when they were
young. I mean, Tim
30
was 20,
years old, 28 and 30 years
Tim
old.
was 28, Jeff was 30, you know. And even though they were very different kinds of musicians and artists, they were very similar figures of their respective generations. And then they were father and son, and they never knew each other, you know. So it's an intense relationship, even if it never existed. And I think that was part of where I mean, I was just initially sort of caught off guard by the fact that that was the story. You know, it wasn't a Jeff Buckley biopic.
Right.
It's like, it's actually, to me, a story that stands alone on its own. It's a father-son meditation kind of, you know.
Did you, I mean, what kind of research did you do? How do you do research for a film like this?
It's kind of hard because it's, you know, there's plenty of information about Jeff and Tim out there, but there's nothing about this particular period in his life that isn't just kind of glossing over these 6 days, or at least just this period. You know, I mean, Jeff did not sing at this point. He was a session guitarist in L.A. Nobody knew he could sing, which is kind of incredible. You know, he was like the voice of his generation, and he was 24 years old, and no one even knew at that point. So, you know, I had a lot of freedom in that way, but it was also sometimes nerve-wracking because I wasn't sure, you know, there was a lot of interpretation on my part.
In what? In the vocals and
well, I mean, yeah, just in everything that I was doing, and even the Jeff that I was kind of inhabiting, because, you know, the Jeff that everyone thinks of, who became an icon later, that was him 3 years after this point, and at this point he was just this shapeless ball of undefined talent.